Most people will never be wealthy because they've been domesticated to worship a lie. They believe the fairy tale that hard work, integrity, and playing by the rules will eventually reward them with abundance. Machiavelli understood something 5 centuries ago that your parents, your teachers, and your society desperately don't want you to know. The game is rigged, and the only people who win are those willing to take shortcuts while everyone else suffers through the long, painful, and ultimately pointless path of moral compliance. Look around you. 95% of people work harder than they've ever worked, put in more hours, sacrifice more of their lives, and yet they remain exactly where they started. Meanwhile, a small minority accumulates wealth at a speed that seems almost supernatural. The difference isn't intelligence. It isn't work ethic. It's the willingness to see the game for what it actually is and play it without the handicap of moral conditioning. You've been taught that shortcuts are cheating, that there's nobility in struggle, that the righteous path, though longer, is the only path worth taking. This is the most effective psychological prison ever constructed. While you're busy being virtuous, while you're taking pride in your integrity, someone else is taking the money that could have been yours. They're using strategies you've been conditioned to reject. They're exploiting systems you've been trained to respect. And they're laughing at your self-imposed limitations. Every day you wait, every moment you spend convincing yourself that playing fair will eventually pay off, you fall further behind. Your competition isn't reading the same books you're reading. They're not attending the same seminars about positive thinking and manifestation. They're studying power dynamics. They're identifying leverage points. They're building relationships not based on genuine connection, but on strategic value extraction. And while you're still trying to figure out how to ask for a raise without seeming too aggressive, they've already positioned themselves to make more in a month than you'll make in a year. The cost of your moral superiority is measured in years. Years of working for someone else. Years of building someone else's dream. Years of watching opportunities pass by because you were too principled to seize them the way they needed to be seized. You tell yourself you're different. You tell yourself you're better than those who cut corners. But late at night, when you're calculating whether you can afford that expense, when you're stressed about bills, when you're wondering why nothing ever seems to break your way, you know the truth. Your principles are expensive, and you're the one paying the price. Now let me give you the first law. Exploit information asymmetry. Wealth doesn't flow to those who work hardest. It flows to those who know what others don't. Every market, every industry, every opportunity has hidden layers of information. The people making real money aren't smarter than you. They simply have access to knowledge you don't have, and they use it ruthlessly. Your job is to position yourself where information flows. Get close to decision makers. Infiltrate networks where secrets are shared. Learn to read between the lines of public announcements. When you know something the market hasn't priced in yet, when you understand a shift before it becomes obvious, you can move with precision while everyone else is still confused. This isn't about illegal insider trading. This is about understanding that information is the most valuable currency, and most people are information poor because they're too passive to seek out what's hidden. Second law. Leverage other people's resources. The fastest way to stay poor is to only use what you have. The wealthy understand that capital is everywhere, and the skill isn't in having it, but in directing it. Never use your own money when you can use someone else's. Never build alone when you can make others invest their time, their expertise, their networks into your vision. This requires a specific kind of manipulation. You must make your opportunity appear so valuable that others feel privileged to participate. You must create the perception that they need you more than you need them, even when the opposite is true. Strategic partnerships aren't about mutual benefit. They're about extracting maximum value while minimizing your own investment. Learn to sell vision. Learn to make others believe in something so strongly that they'll fund it, build it, and take the risk, while you maintain control and reap disproportionate rewards. Third law. Create perceived value over real value. The market doesn't reward quality, it rewards perception. You can have the best product, the most valuable service, the most genuine offering, and still lose to someone who simply packages mediocrity better than you package excellence. This is about understanding psychology. Scarcity, even artificial scarcity, drives demand. Premium pricing creates the illusion of premium value. Sophisticated branding makes people believe they're getting something transformative when they're getting something ordinary. Stop obsessing over making your offering actually better. Start obsessing over making it appear more valuable. Control the narrative. Manipulate the presentation. Understand that people don't buy based on objective analysis. They buy based on emotional triggers and social proof. Give them the illusion they crave, and they'll pay whatever you ask. The moment you understand that perception creates reality in the marketplace, you've crossed a threshold most will never reach. They're still believing in fairness, you're engineering outcomes. Now we move deeper into territory that separates the permanently wealthy from the perpetually struggling. Befriend power, use the weak. This is not about being cruel for cruelty's sake. This is about recognizing the fundamental architecture of how resources flow in society. Power attracts resources. Proximity to power grants access to those resources. Every relationship in your life should be evaluated through a single lens. Does this person elevate my position or drain my energy? The powerful have networks, intelligence, capital, and influence. They open doors that hard work alone never will. Your job is to make yourself valuable enough to enter their orbit, then extract everything you can from that proximity. Study what they need. Become indispensable in providing it. The weak, conversely, offer emotional validation and moral comfort, but they cannot change your financial trajectory. They will consume your time with their problems, their limitations, their fear-based thinking. Be polite, be kind on the surface, but never confuse compassion with strategy. Your inner circle should terrify you with their capability. Everyone else is a transaction. The mentor relationship is particularly ripe for exploitation. Successful people love to feel generous, to see themselves as guides. Let them. Ask the right questions. Gain access to their thinking, their contacts, their patterns. They'll give you decades of compressed wisdom if you stroke their ego correctly. Then take what you've learned and move past them. Gratitude is a feeling. Wealth is a scoreboard. Most people waste years with relationships that make them feel good, rather than relationships that make them rich. You're not most people anymore. Let others do the failing. Every failure in business, every bankruptcy, every collapsed venture is a free education if you're paying attention. The masses see failure and feel superior or sympathetic. You see failure and extract the lesson without paying the tuition. Someone already tested that business model and lost everything. Perfect. Now you know exactly what not to do. Someone already spent years developing a system that works. Excellent. Reverse engineer it and implement it in 6 months. There is no honor in originality when it comes to making money. Innovation is expensive and risky. Imitation is cheap and proven. Find what's working in other markets, other industries, other countries, and transplant it into your context. The internet has made this absurdly easy, yet people still insist on reinventing wheels. Study bankruptcies. Read case studies of failed companies. Interview people who lost fortunes. They'll tell you everything, usually eager to make sense of their pain. You're not there to comfort them. You're there to mine their experience for tactical intelligence. Then find the people who succeeded in the same space. Copy their structure, their positioning, their timing. Modify just enough to avoid legal issues, but don't modify so much that you lose what made it work. Speed matters more than perfection. While others are planning and preparing and building the perfect foundation, you're already in market, iterating, learning, earning. Let the perfectionists fail slowly. You'll fail fast, adjust faster, and win while they're still in the planning phase. Write in the comments what shortcut you're going to implement this week. Declare it, make it real. Appear virtuous while acting ruthlessly. This is perhaps the most critical skill for sustained wealth accumulation. The world punishes those who appear greedy even as it rewards actual greed. Your public persona must radiate integrity, fairness, generosity. Your private actions must be calculated, self-interested, and strategically merciless. Donate to charity publicly. Negotiate brutally in private. Speak about helping others. Structure every deal to maximize your advantage. Post inspirational content about community and collaboration. Ensure every partnership contract protects you first. This isn't hypocrisy. This is survival in a system that demands moral theater while operating on amoral principles. The most successful people you admire are already doing this. They've just mastered the performance so completely you can't see the machinery underneath. Build a reputation for being reasonable, for being a person of your word, for caring about win-win outcomes. This reputation is an asset that allows you to operate with more freedom, more trust, more access. Then use that access ruthlessly. The negotiation where you appear collaborative while claiming 70% of the value. The partnership where you seem generous while maintaining total control. The investment where you look like you're taking a risk while you've structured complete downside protection. Moral flexibility in negotiation is not about lying. It's about understanding that different situations require different ethical frameworks. With family, perhaps you operate with genuine generosity. With competitors, you operate with absolute self-interest. With clients, you operate in whatever mode extracts maximum value while maintaining the relationship. Fixed morality is a luxury for people who don't need money. You're playing a different game now. Your ethics are situational, strategic, optimized for outcome rather than consistency. The moment you feel guilty about this, remember every corporation does exactly this. They just have PR departments to manage the appearance. Strike when others hesitate. Crisis creates opportunity, but only for those psychologically prepared to act while others freeze. Economic downturns, industry disruptions, personal catastrophes in your competition, these are not tragedies, these are transfer events. Wealth moving from the paralyzed to the prepared. When markets crash, the majority panic and sell. You buy. When industries collapse, most retreat to safety. You acquire assets at fractions of their value. When your competitor faces scandal or setback, others offer sympathy. You offer to acquire their clients, their talent, their market share. This requires you to maintain capital reserves not for security, but for predation. Cash during crisis is the ultimate weapon. Everyone needs it. Few have it. You can dictate terms. Speed matters more than certainty in these moments. While others are conducting analysis and seeking consensus and managing their fear, you're moving. Imperfect action beats perfect planning when timing is critical. You'll make mistakes. Some bets won't pay off. Irrelevant. The one that does will return multiples that dwarf your losses. The opportunist's advantage is psychological, not informational. You're seeing the same situation as everyone else. You're just interpreting it through a different lens. They see risk, you see asymmetric upside. They see chaos, you see mispriced assets. They see reasons to wait, you see reasons to strike. This mindset must be cultivated deliberately because your biology works against you. Humans are wired for caution, for safety, for following the herd. Wealth accumulation requires you to override these instincts consistently. Train yourself to feel excitement when others feel fear. Condition yourself to see possibility in disaster. This is not natural. This is developed through repeated exposure and conscious reframing. You now possess 7 laws that most will never implement, because implementation requires abandoning the comfortable mythology they've built around how wealth works. These aren't theories. These are operational principles used by every person who's accumulated significant wealth quickly. The question is never whether these work. The question is whether you have the psychological fortitude to use them.